Great. Okay. Again, welcome. This is the Tillicum PTA and Middle School Parent Tech Talk. My name is Dusty Steer. We are joined tonight by two of our teachers as well as BSD parents. As part of this parent education, we are responding to what we have heard to be one of the biggest pain points for middle school parents. Often it's coming from elementary to middle school when you go from one homeroom teacher to now perhaps 7 teachers of understanding, how do I navigate how my students are doing? How do I look at things like gradebook or understand OneNote? And so I've invited both Tracey Laprade and Kristen Laprade and Tracey Williams, two of our teachers and BSD parents, to be able to kind of unpack and provide some education. So thank you to all of you who are here in person, as well as those of you who are online. We are recording this so that if there's interesting information, you can kind of go back and unpack that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our two presenters. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm Ms. Laprade, like you said, and I am a mom of 3 kids in the Bellevue School District. So I have one in high school, and he was here for middle school, and then one 5th grader at Jingmei, and then a 3rd grader at Phantom Lake. So we, and Mrs. Williams, Tracey, has twins that are in schools,
Mamish juniors.
and then Harrison, her oldest, graduated from there. All right, so I was asked to give a tech talk, and I just kind of decided to present to you what I find useful when I'm checking in on my kids' grades and how my kids are doing. So hopefully this is what you're wanting, and if not, then just ask lots of questions because I can try to answer then.
Oh, I'm trying.
There we go. All right, so the first thing that you should do, and if you haven't done it already, do it right now, is download the Parent View app. So if you look in like the Google store or whatever, it is Parent View, looks like that one, and you hit download. That will be the easiest way to stay up to date on what your kids' grades are. And I'm going to show you all the cool things that you can see with that. But this is my #1 piece of advice, is have it on your phone where it's really easy and simple and you can look at it. I look at mine all the time. It also helps for like, it's a little late now for you guys, but for curriculum night, because you can look at your kids' schedule all on Parent View. And so less that you have to worry about where you're going. I'm going to be using mine at Sammamish next week. Okay.
I'm trying. I got lobby.
All right. I think Dusty had said he was going to be letting people in. So, all right. So when you get into Parent View, if you haven't logged on before, it's going to prompt you to update the school information before you can come see everything. I know that Tillicum has around 100 students who haven't filled out their information stuff yet. So if that's one of you, make sure it gets done. So once you get in, I have the view on a computer and then the view on a cell phone, my cell phone. So you want to first click on Gradebook. Okay, and you can see off to the side and then over here highlighted Gradebooks. That's where you want to go. You don't need to go to any of the little things that are under that. Gradebook is where you want to be. And then you click on the class or the quarter, so quarter 1, and you can see here that there's a missing assignment. Somehow my arrows have moved.
Oh.
Okay, and then the same was Gradebook if you were in the app. So when you click on these, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. This is the default view. It's course content view. I do not like this view. I get confused by it. So if this worked for you, awesome. But I want to show you an alternative that is kind of missed by most people. And that's up in the top right. It'll say assignment view. And if you click on it, then it takes you to a different screen that looks like this. And if you're doing this on a cell phone, a mobile
Little
phone,
dots.
it's the 3 dots. So it won't have content view, assignment view up at the top like it did on a computer screen. But if you click the 3 dots, you can select assignment view. So once you're in assignment view, it tells me a lot of things that can be really helpful. One, I love that nice big red letters tells you if anything is missing. And then it also, the graph can tell you a lot of things, but the main thing I look for there is, are they weighting the grades at all? So some teachers will weight certain types of assignments as worth more towards your grade than other things. And so if they have it where they're doing that, they should have it all broken down up here, and you can see what % of the grade each of the different things is. When you come down and you look at the assignments, you can see that they have scores or they're not due. Some things can get graded on a yes or a no. If it has a score and then you look over to the side, it has that score out of how many, that's how they did on that assignment. Then a lot of teachers, well, some teachers, write little notes in here to like give feedback to the kids. I know Miss Hargraves does that, and I know Mrs. Williams does that. And then there's other things that we can have on here, like in my class, I do standard space grading. And so some of the assignments that I have kids do are grades, but unless it's their highest score, it's not the one that counts towards their grade. And so I put it in as not for grading so that parents still know how their kid's doing on things. But I'm not counting all the attempts. Instead, I'm counting just the highest attempt. And then the real reason I find this page way better than the other one is it is super easy to see which assignment is missing. Okay, so it has it down here in red, missing, and then it says 0 next to it. So the 0 is important because what that is telling you is that it's been entered into the grade as a 0 missing assignment. Okay, you need to be careful when it says missing assignment because teachers have lots of options for how we can put it in the grade book. So we could put it in as a missing 0, or we could put it as a missing half or a missing quarter,
Or missing
or
just
missing. And if it's listed as just missing, when the quarter ends, the teacher is going to change those to zeros. And if you weren't paying attention, that's going to be a massive change to your student's grade that you weren't expecting. Okay, so always pay attention to whether or not that missing assignment is being counted towards the grade. Okay. All right, and then we like to be positive, and sometimes grades, it can be scary and stressful for kids, but we have a program here at Tillicum where we give Tiger Points to kids, and I know PTA helps to support paying for some of the little rewards that they get to buy. So you can look at how your student is doing as far as Tiger Points by going just under gradebook. There's something called MTSS. And if you look at MTSS, you can see the points that have been given from different teachers. And these ones were given by me. So whenever possible, I make sure I write a note for what I gave the Tiger Point for. So like, it was great job showing the class how to work as a team, one computer on the OneNote, other computer on the scale tool. Just little things letting kids know that I notice what they're doing. And when they know what they're getting the Tiger Points for, they're more likely to do it again. Okay, so make sure you check in there because it's always nice to see what your kid's getting complimented for. I know I like it. All right, so
take this one.
yes, you can.
All right,
take
I
this
can
one.
talk. Let me see. All right, so one thing we want to emphasize and kind of reiterate is the laptop is district property and that your student has no expectation of privacy on the district laptop. So at any time, the district has the ability to see your student's computer screen. They can see what's been written in OneNote. They can see what's been written on Teams and Outlook. So they just need to understand and have you help reiterate this idea that this is their business computer and their business is school, and that it should be used pretty much for using that laptop for things, just school, not other things. That's one of the rules we have at our house. We have family computers. The school computer is just for schoolwork. And that you should be able, you, the parents, because sometimes it's easier to look at things like OneNote, Outlook, Teams, anything that the kids are doing. Sometimes it is easier to look at it on their computer. So really helpfully emphasize and setting up that expectation that you get to look at the computer too, so that you can possibly do a Teams call with a teacher maybe, or see what's happening in their OneNote. So keeping that open communication with the computers is super important so that they don't think that it's theirs, but that it's something they've checked out from the school to use for schoolwork. Right, we'll go with that.
All right, so the next thing is OneNote. A lot of the teachers use, oh, you didn't, we missed the email.
I don't think we're there yet.
Okay, I'm losing my mind. All right, OneNote is the most important thing that you need to know on their computers. And that is because it's where they're doing the bulk of their work for most of their classes. Not all classes, but for most of them. I know science is pretty much entirely on OneNote.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to see how they're doing in science, make sure you're looking here. So when you click on OneNote and you open it up, they should have already opened their notebooks for all their classes. Okay, once they have opened them, unless they like go to the trouble of clicking on a whole bunch of things to make it disappear, it should still be there. They have to completely close the notebook to get rid of it. Otherwise, it's there. And if they do happen to close it, you can get it back by reopening it using Teams. Okay, so the upper right is where you will look to see the class notebook they're in. So students can have up to 7, sometimes more. Like I have students who have TSA notebooks because they're in the TSA club I run. And then there is the content library across the top. So I'm going to date myself here, but the content library is essentially the restricted section in the library. You know, the part of the library that has the really cool books, but you can't check them out because they're valuable. So all you get to do is photocopy them. That's what the content library is. It's where the teachers put our version that we don't want the kids to mess up. Okay, so then we will send those pages, or students can copy and paste the pages into their own folder. So next to where it says content library up at the top, there's going to be a folder that has their name on it. All right, so some other things on here. So this is when you get into the folder. You can always check to see where you're located in their OneNote. So one thing is along the side here, or sometimes kids have it set up differently, but you can always find it. It'll say content library, and the one that's highlighted here is this unit 1, and it's within the content library. So I know that this is something they can't copy. I mean, they can't alter in any way. Another way that I know that this is one they can't alter at all is along the top, it tells you the name of the page, and then it says read only. 9 times out of 10, maybe even more than that, when a student tells you they can't write on the page and they're starting to melt down and freak out, just look to see if it says read only, because in all likelihood, they're in the content library and they can't write on those. So you just tell them that, and then they hit the little U-turn button, they find their own folder, and they'll find one that they can actually edit in there. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's a student page. So you have the content library up here, and then this is covering up the student's name that I actually borrowed from, but it'll say your student's name, and then below that are all the folders that are theirs. Okay. And then also up at the top, where on the other one it said read only, this does not say read only. So this is something they should be able to type on, and you can see that this student had worked on their assignment. All right, so email, this is what I was jumping to. So their email should be in their Outlook, and students should be checking their email daily. It's something we really want them to get into the habit of doing. They live in they text all the time and they don't think to check email, and we need to get them where they're starting to check email. So they every day get an email with announcements telling them all the stuff that's going on after school. It gives them links to certain things that they talk about in the announcements, but
They have surveys sometimes.
yes, they have lots of surveys sometimes that are important. There's lots of stuff that tells them all about what's going on around school. And I'm going to be honest, not every classroom do they hear the announcements in the morning. Okay, it can be, especially if you're in a PE class or you're in a CTE class where it's a big classroom and lots of stuff is going on, they might not hear the announcements at all. And so by checking their email, they can stay in the loop as to what's going on. They also get emails from teachers. They get emails about clubs, about Jubilee sports. And then it's where we encourage students to communicate if they're doing group work for their classes, because we've tried to steer away from the Teams chat disaster. And also web groups. So if you're an 8th grader or a 6th grader, they're communicating a lot about the upcoming web meetings in that way. And I know there's a big web meeting on Thursday.
Big web meeting Thursday for the 6th graders. We're going to have them meeting from tutorial 2:35 until 4 o'clock activity time. Make sure they know what activity bus they need to ride home on if they are going to take the activity bus, because they didn't get to make tie-dye web shirts or tie-dye Tillicum shirts on the first day of school like the 7th and 8th graders did. So all the web groups are going to be working together to make sure that all the 6th graders and the 8th grade web leaders get and make their tie-dye shirt that's the Tillicum Tiger community. And we need that whole hour and a half to make that happen for the 250 people that need a tie-dye in that hour and a half. So really hoping that every 6th grader can make it so that they can get their t-shirt and have that time with their web group again for the first time.
All right, the next up, student portal. So the key thing that I want to point out about student portal is they can access it from any computer. It doesn't have to be their school computer. And if you go to where the district website and you hit students up at the top, it'll give you the option that says student portal, and they can access it. They log in with their normal login. So if they're at grandma's house and they forgot their laptop, or if they're at mom or dad's house and their computer's at the other parent's house, that type of thing happens to kids a lot. They can use whatever computer they have available and access their schoolwork. So when they click into the student portal, this is what it looks like. And it gives them access to student view for their grades. It gives them their OneDrive, which is super important for some kids. And it gives them Clever, which is the easy way to log into lots of the apps that they use in their classroom.
Oops.
And then on this same thing, so this is still the student portal, but if you look up in the left-hand corner, there's what I call the waffle. And if they click on it, they have access to the whole Office 365 from any computer at all. So they don't have to have their school laptop to be able to do schoolwork. when kids come to my class and they forgot their computer that day and they're working on a loaner, I will recommend that they use the online version, because especially later in the year, some of those files get really, really big. And if they're trying to download it onto a loaner, then they'll miss the class period waiting for the pages to pop up. All right. And then the last thing we wanted to kind of throw in is the planner.
Even it's old school tech.
It's old school tech. It's very, very important. And as kids get older, they can transition from the actual paper version to like fancy electronic versions. But getting in the habit of writing stuff down every class period is massive. Okay? Because they're not going to remember what it was they're supposed to do in all of their classes. They're just not. And so we have this that every student got. They have a row for each class period. They should have labeled it first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And then down at the bottom here, they have some area to write little notes, like they could put the school dance in. They could put what they're doing activity-wise. Lots of options there. But the majority of sixth grade teachers, I know for a fact, are having students write in their planner every single day. And if they're in my class, they're not allowed to write no homework. So they won't get credit if that's what they're doing. So what I have them do is I write down what we're doing in class that day. And then if they've completed it, they check it off. And then it's there. And when kids get home and you ask them what they did and they say, oh, just stuff. Then you can say, get your planner out. Let's see what you guys did. And then ask them lots of pointed questions where they have to actually tell you more. Anything you want to add to that?
No. I would just say really ask to see their planner. I mean, we still, with our 16-year-olds, it's like, where's your planner? My favorite office supply I buy my junior in college is his planner. He wants his paper planner that he has out on his desk every day. So getting them in the habit of doing that's going to be key. Every period, every day, I've been encouraging my kids, well, my choir teacher doesn't have us write in it. Well, then write down in 7th period that you have after choir, write down what you did in choir. You did the B flat scale, or you were practicing this song, just so that you can then go back and communicate with your parents. So it would be really helpful from your side to reiterate that back and really emphasize that idea of like, where's your planner? Why is there a hole here? Let's work on some goals at home that we have your planner filled out, and maybe there's a reward or something from your end too, because it's a two-way street in that case for them being successful.
Yeah, and for some stubborn children like mine that don't want to write in their planner because they think they know everything, giving them that reward really does help a lot. And then signing off on it. I'll oftentimes like have the teacher like sign off on things, or I'll sign off on things to make sure that it's actually been completed. Especially if you have a child that doesn't want to go to tutorial and you're sending them to tutorial and you want to know where they went, you have the teacher that they went to sign it, then you know for sure where they went, because oftentimes kids go to the class that they think they're going to have the most fun in the tutorial, not the one that they actually need to go to.
I think the last thing I would emphasize in terms of tech talk would be, and I did a little demonstration in my 2 6th grade science classes at open house curriculum night, is really emphasizing the idea, especially with the 6th graders, because they have brand new computers. There's not one 6th grader whose battery should die before the end of the day, since they are brand new. So really thinking about that process you have at home to make sure that they're charged overnight. One of the things we do at my house is everybody puts their computer in their backpack. Their backpack with their computer is sitting by an outlet at home. They plug it in, they go brush their teeth, they go to bed, they get up in the morning, they unplug that power cord, put it back in the backpack, because you never know what might happen come 6th period. But now we have a charged computer. So at least for the first half of the day, hopefully even into 7th period, the computer is fully charged and they have their power cord in case something does go awry and they need to boost it up. because having 37 kids need to charge their computer in a classroom isn't going to be doable. And really nobody's, at least at the 6th grade level, should need to charge because they are brand new for them.
Yeah, the ones that do tend to be using their computer at lunchtime to
Oh, yeah.
do gaming and all that sort of stuff. And so that's when they kill the battery.
So they should be putting their computer away and talking to their friends and playing outside. That's my 2 cents.
Be social. All right, I think that's
That's it in a nutshell. So if anybody has any questions about anything, do you want to, Mr. Steer, do you want to pass the mic for questions?
I have two, and I found it illustrates really
For the thing, are they both here? I don't know. I don't usually look at their emails through Parent View. I mean, I just email if I need to email the teacher, but I usually just email. I usually have the kids email the teacher with me sitting next to them. So it's coming from them.
Yeah, whenever I check my son's email, I'm looking at his Outlook.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a big giant mess. And as a teacher, I don't love it when people send me emails through that, because in order to reply to you, I have to do a bunch of extra steps. And so it makes me not reply as quickly as I would if it's just a regular email.
Yeah, so I mean, unless you don't know the teacher's email, that might be the way. But if the best way to email any of us is like just email us directly with our teacher email through whatever your Gmail account or your iCloud account or whatever you use for email. Yeah.
That's a really good question, and it's good to know that teachers hate parent view. There's a bunch of parent view incidents you like, but just use Outlook or just email us, right?
It'll go faster.
Yeah, whenever I get an email.
Yeah, I think there's a parent back here that had a question.
Other questions?
Well, I think Cooking Club won't. I'll have to talk to Mr. Askew. He's not going to be able to start it on Thursday, just because like this is every 6th grader.
Yeah, and then
We'll prioritize side-eye.
yeah, the same goes for TSA Club. Kids are going to find out if they were accepted tomorrow, but all of the 6th graders are being told that is not their first meeting this week. They're going to the following weeks, and that they should go to the web tutorial.
Other questions? Yes. Good question. So clubs, the way that clubs work is that teachers during the month of September are beginning to launch our clubs, and we advertise all of our clubs with recording announcements. The best thing for you to do is to look with your son or daughter at night. Just show me the email that you got from the shift today. It says Tillicum Daily Announcements. In there, it'll say, oh, want to sign up for Jubilee Sports, or TSA is accepting applications, or Cooking Club. And so that's the best way of learning about that. Once we get going a little further, probably by October, we'll put on our website, here's the clubs that we have. Some of them are kind of closed, like Cooking Club, you get to do for about 10 weeks, and then another opportunity.
And like archery is the same thing.
And archery. So there's some real popular clubs, and then there's some clubs that are just kind of open no matter what. At any time. But those daily announcements are a way to learn about what's going on. My advice to parents is, as opposed to you kind of hyper monitoring parent view, it's much better on a nightly, or at least a couple times a week, with your child. Hey, sit down, show me your run notes, show me your student view. Okay? which is basically what the parent do, and you let them walk through, show me your email. Just to kind of help start to teach them some of the places where you see them. You ask them questions as opposed to perhaps trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, that's part of why we wanted to reiterate that they're district computers, because a lot of the feedback we get as teachers is, well, I don't know my kid's password, or it's their computer, it's not mine. And it's not their computer. It's the district's computer, and you as a parent have every right to be on there checking on what your kid is doing. And my kids are required to give me what their login information is so that I can log in if I wanted to.
No,
Not in middle school.
not in middle school. In middle school, the only emails that they can receive and send are to Bellevue School District employees or
Yep.
teachers or other students. And so when they get to high school, though, that's open to
Yep.
some of them are doing internships and doing different things.
Some students will do workarounds and will let their students can access their email, their school computer. So because of that tricky piece, like if you do, you might do, maybe send something home to friends. So there are some workarounds. Yes, the Bellevue School District email and outside organization.
No, he can do it from anywhere. It's just Teams is on the internet, easily accessible for everyone. That being said, not every class has a
Has one.
notebook. So don't be panicking if, he's in 7 classes and you're not seeing 7 notebooks. It could just be the number of classes that he's taking that are maybe more elective based that don't have that.
Or I think like LA, for like 6th grade LA, they haven't necessarily opened them yet
yeah.
for one of the teachers. So
Just so you guys know, can you hear us? Like, there are some of us who are not there in person, and we can't hear, like, when people
Yes.
are asking questions, we can't hear
Yes,
the questions.
it is.
and so
My
it's very
son
silent.
uses
okay,
all of
we'll
these
repeat.
things every day at Sammamish.
We need to repeat the questions.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, we're not being good about that.
I've been trying to get it. Don't know how to find it. I've got the code.
I think that's a parish. Repeat the
So if
question.
we can help you with that, we can also, we have a just code. Help with a lot of this stuff. I need a parent activation. Just downloading Synergy on your phone. So oftentimes a student's last name first, a really common name. As it's Smith, then it might be Smith A S. So often last name first initial.
With the S dash in front of it.
Might want to
So
repeat
I
the
just want
question.
to let you guys know we can't hear.
All right, so the
answers, like, we
question
can't hear.
was about logging into ParentView when you don't know your user ID. And so to that, we say, contact the school registrar, who will be able to send you that information and a new access code if that's what you need.
Sometimes you will often know your child's counselor more than you might know.
You get on the parent, you're not on the app, but if you go on the computer website, the login help at the bottom, and I think it's an email to be to ask for an email to be sent to you. It will take the one, they'll send you.
Repeat.
But not on the app, no.
Yeah, so if you can go onto student view on the computer, not the app on the phone, there's a help button down at the bottom that you could always request for help.
Those are great questions. I think we've got to have from about 5:30 to 6:30 kind of for parent tech time. It may be useful just to play. I will run around and help the questions. Up with a couple more. Good, but I appreciate it. But there are other questions right now.
Are there any questions online you want to look, Dusty? So great question. So if you don't know how to contact a teacher, the first way you can do that is, I mean, we're basically the same nomenclature. It's our last name, first initial with no S dash because we're the adults. And so that way, then it's bsc405.org. You can always email us on Synergy. I might then just grab your email and email you back on Outlook. That's a lot of times what I do. I don't necessarily email back in Synergy app. I'll just grab who the parent is that's emailing me and then go the easy route. But if you click on our name, I think our name should pop up with the email too, that you could also copy and put it into your normal email program that you use. Oh yeah, I know, like, so the question was, if we get questions via Synergy, can we reply through Synergy? 100%. But a lot of times teachers will when they send emails through Synergy, it's because they just want to get a lot of, some information out to all the students, not necessarily wanting information back from you. More like, here. And then if you do have questions, or if you do have something you want to tell them, you 100% feel free just to email us directly on Outlook, our Outlook email. We would much prefer a straight email than through Synergy. It's so clunky. We'll answer you on Synergy. It's just clunky.
Yeah, and if you're using your student's computer to email us, as soon as you start typing our name in, it'll autofill.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I always prioritize emails that were sent to me by a student over one sent by parents, no offense, but the whole thing about middle school is trying to teach them to be independent about things. And so when I see students that are doing that, I reward it with a quick reply.
Yeah, and often as an 8th grade teacher, if I have a parent email me, I won't reply directly to the parent. I'll reply to the student and CC the parent. Because usually it's them kind of going, my kid didn't tell me that. And I'll reply back, well, as we talked about in class, and that was said on the assignment board, this is what we did. And so make sure you let your parents know who emailed me, as you can see their email below. So a lot of times I'll reply back to the kid and just CC the parent. So parent knows I got it, but yet we're trying to give it back to the 8th grader who is now only 157 days away from being a freshman, trying to get them ready. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I do the same, where if a parent emails me, especially as it gets later in the year, I reply to that, but I add in the student's email because I don't want them thinking I talked behind their back. Because, trust is a big thing in middle school, and it can make or break a teacher-student relationship.
All right, any other questions?
All right, were there any online?
Do we have any online, Dusty? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Well, if you guys want to try accessing some of that stuff and ask us questions as you're in the moment, then we'll be around.
All right, we're going to unshare here.